Frederick Hubbard. Fred Gwynne was an American actor. Gwynne was best known for his roles in the 1960s sitcoms Car 54, Where Are You? And as Frankenstein-type character Herman Munster in The Munsters, as well as his later roles in Pet Sematary, The Cotton Club and My Cousin Vinny. He was recognized for his distinctive baritone voice. Early life: Gwynne was born in New York City, son of Frederick Walker Gwynne, a partner in the securities firm Gwynne Brothers, and his wife Dorothy Ficken. His paternal grandfather was an Episcopal priest born in Camas, near Strabane, County Tyrone, Northern Ireland, and his maternal grandfather was an immigrant from London, England. Gwynne attended the Groton School, and graduated from Harvard University, where he was affiliated with Adams House, in 1951. Although Gwynne grew up in Tuxedo Park, New York, he spent most of his childhood in South Carolina, Florida, and Colorado because his father traveled extensively. At Harvard, he was a member of the Fly Club, sang with the a cappella group the Harvard Crocodilos, was a cartoonist for the Harvard Lampoon, and acted in the Hasty Pudding theatricals shows. During World War II, Gwynne served in the U.S. Navy. He later studied art under the GI Bill. Career: Gwynne joined the Brattle Theatre Repertory Company after graduation, then moved to New York City. To support himself, Gwynne worked as a copywriter for J. Walter Thompson, resigning in 1952 upon being cast in his first Broadway role, a gangster in a comedy called Mrs. Makething, which starred Helen Hayes. Phil Silvers was impressed by Gwynne from his work in Mrs. Makething and sought him for his television show. As a result, in 1955, Gwynne made a memorable appearance on The Phil Silvers Show, in the episode The Eating Contest as the character Private Ed Onager, whose depressive eating binges are exploited by Sergeant Biko, who seeks prize money by entering Onager in an eating contest. Gwynne's second appearance on The Phil Silvers Show and many other shows led writer-producer Nat Hicken to cast him in the sitcom Car 54, Where Are You? As patrolman Francis Muldoon, opposite Joey Ross. During the two-season run of the program he met longtime friend and later co-star, Al Lewis. Gwynne was 6'5" and tall, an attribute that contributed to his being cast as Herman Munster, a goofy parody of Frankenstein's monster, in the sitcom The Munsters. For his role he had to wear 40 or 50 lbs of padding, makeup, and 4-inch elevator shoes. His face was painted a bright violet because it captured the most light on the black and white film. Gwynne was known for his sense of humor and retained fond recollections of Herman, saying in later life, "I might as well tell you the truth. I love old Herman Munster. Much as I try not to, I can't stop liking that fellow." After his experience in The Munsters, however, he found himself typecast. In 1969, he was cast as Jonathan Brewster in a television production of Arsenic and Old Lace. A talented vocalist, Gwynne sang in a Hallmark Hall of Fame made-for-television production, The Littlest Angel, and went on to perform in a variety of roles on stage and screen. In 1974, he appeared in the role of Big Daddy Pollitt in the Broadway revival of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof with Elizabeth Ashley, Keir Dullea and Kate Reid. In 1975 he played the stage manager in Our Town at the American Shakespeare Theatre in Stratford, Connecticut. He returned to Broadway in 1976 as Colonel J.C. Kincaid in two parts of A Texas Trilogy. In 1984, he tried out for the part of Henry on the show Punky Brewster. He is said to have withdrawn from the audition in frustration when the auditioner identified him as Herman Munster rather than by his real name. The role of Henry subsequently went to George Gaines. In 1987, Gwynne starred in a short-lived TV series Jake's M.O., where he played an investigative reporter. Gwynne's performance as Judd Crandall in Pet Sematary was based on author Stephen King himself, who is also quite tall, only an inch shorter than the actor, and uses a similarly thick Maine dialect. Gwynne also had roles in the movies Simon, On the Waterfront, So Fine, Disorganized Crime, The Cotton Club, Captains Courageous, The Secret of My Success, Water, Ironweed, Fatal Attraction and The Boy Who Could Fly. Despite his misgiving about having been typecast, He also agreed to reprise the role of Herman Munster for the 1981 TV reunion movie The Munsters' Revenge. In his last film, Gwyn played Judge Chamberlain Halliow in the 1992 film comedy My Cousin Vinny, in which he used a southern accent, and his verbal sparring with Joe Pesci's character over how to pronounce the word youths was prominently featured in the film's trailer. In addition to his acting career, Gwyn sang professionally, painted, and wrote and illustrated children's books, including It's Easy to See Why, A Chocolate Mousse for Dinner, The King Who Reigned, Best in Show, Pondlaka, The Battle of the Frogs and Mice, and A Little Pigeon Toad. Many of these efforts were based on children's frequent misperceptions of things they hear from adults, such as The Chocolate Mousse for Dinner, which was illustrated as a large brown quadruped seated at the dinner table. The other books on this theme were The King Who Reigned, A Little Pigeon Toad, and The 16-Hand Horse. Perhaps one of the reasons the books did not achieve wider popularity was the fact that their format was geared to a very young audience, but the concept itself was more appealing to older children and adults. He also lent his voice talents to commercials and radio shows such as CBS Radio Mystery Theater, and for some radio fans, he is known foremost for his contribution to CBS RMT's success. Later, he held a number of shows of his artwork, the first in 1989. Personal life: in 1952, Gwyn married socialite Jean Reynard, a granddaughter of New York City Mayor William J. Gaynor. They had 5 children, 3 sons, Evan, Dylan, and Kieran, and 2 daughters, Madden and Gaynor, before divorcing in 1980. Dylan died in a drowning accident as a child in 1963, and Kieran was born with developmental disabilities. In 1988, Gwyn married Deborah Flatter. Death: Gwyn died of pancreatic cancer in Taneytown, Maryland, on July 2, 1993, at the age of 66, 8 days before his 67th birthday. Gwyn was survived by his second wife, Deborah, and 4 children. He is interred at the Sandy Mount United Methodist Church graveyard in Finksburg, Maryland, in an unmarked grave. Selected filmography: My Cousin Vinny as Judge Chamberlain Halliow, Disorganized Crime as Max Green, Pet Sematary as Judd Crandall, Iron Weed as Oscar Rio, Fatal Attraction as Arthur, The Secret of My Success as Donald Davenport, The Boy Who Could Fly as Uncle Hugo Gibb, Offbeat as Police Commissioner, The Cotton Club as Frenchy Demange, So Fine as Chairman Lincoln, Simon as Major General Corey LaLuna as Douglas Winter, The Littlest Angel as Patience the Guardian Angel, The Munsters as Herman Munster, Car 54, Where Are You? As Officer Francis Muldoon, On the Waterfront as Slim. References. External links. Fred Gwynne at the Internet Movie Database, Frederick Gwynne at the Internet Broadway Database, Frederick Gwynne at the Internet Off-Broadway Database, Fred Gwynne at Find a Grave.